Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, sorry, I don't have the camera is not working.
Yeah, I see. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
It's okay.
You have a question?
Something came during the meditation. Now I forgot it. So.
Okay. Does anyone? Yes. Does anyone have a question they would like to
ask? Stuart?
Yes, Larry.
Can you talk about having the clarity?
1 second, please sit still. Laura, please try and sit still. Go ahead.
Having the clarity and the depth of understanding that our inner life manifests everything that we see and do, and really living with that understanding.
You know, I talk about this all the time. It's not something that I understand. It's not something that makes any rational sense to me. It's not something I can figure out or analyze or see in terms of the way people usually try to figure out life. What it is very simple. It becomes a living reality. Your system develops inside to where all the things you asked about become an organic part of your inner nature. You know, and there's no understanding of it. How does one understand the way God works in this world? There's no understanding, but it's the living, you know, presence of higher energy as it moves through you, because your system has developed enough in order to become a channel for it. And then there's no need to understand it or make some rational equation out of it, which, you know, makes sense in terms of, you know, the way we usually understand things. It becomes living reality. It can't be living reality if your system isn't, you know, developed enough to allow it to become that. That's what these classes are all about. That's all they're all about. Helping people, including myself, to develop a system inside to where we, you know, become a living expression of God's energy in this world. Where we get as close as possible to that as a human being can. So there's no comprehension of this thing. There's no way you can, you know, do some textbook analysis of it, or the way psychologists and psychiatrists figure things out. It's living being. It's, you know, to be. And that can only take place if we have an inner development that's strong enough to allow it to take place. Because, you know, I speak about this a lot. There are 3 elements to this meditation. And all 3 of them apply to what I'm talking about now. You know, the first element is the ability to receive spiritual energy. Now, how do you receive something that is described in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, the holy sacred Hindu text? If a light of 1,000 suns suddenly appears, I mean, this is extremely powerful energy. The energy of God. It's infinite, it's beyond all human comprehension, you know. So how do you receive that? If you try to receive it in your mind, you limit it to anything the mind can understand. You need a system inside, a chakra system, that is strong enough to be able to receive this. You understand? The second element is life itself. Karma, the world that we live in, the activity of day-to-day living is very powerful. it screws everybody up because people don't quite know how to deal with it. Well, we need a system inside that is strong enough to be able to work out our karma, to be able to transform the pain, the difficulty, the unhappiness into openness, into love, into compassion, into a very deep level of surrender. You know, these two things alone require an incredibly strong inner life. And these two things really, you know, when you are capable of receiving God's energy, when you're capable of being a vehicle for that energy in the world, you will attain exactly what you asked about. So it comes back to a simple thing, the work that each and every one of us does on ourselves to build that kind of strength inside ourselves. We are all children of God, but the problem is we don't do the work to allow that innocence, that love, that simplicity to manifest in our day-to-day life. The third element is Kundalini, which is the pathway to enlightenment. You understand that? Kundalini is also a very powerful force. And we need to have grounding, centeredness, balance inside. We need to have a highly developed chakra system in order for Kundalini to healthily activate itself inside us. Otherwise, Kundalini can burn a person up. So you have these three powerful forces, spirit, life, and Kundalini, all existing inside a human being. And the only thing that's missing is our development and the development of a chakra system that's strong enough to deal with these things, to allow them to work for us. Once these things are working for us, you don't ask that question. You understand? Because you become a living expression of God's energy on this planet. So you have these forces, and they all depend upon the effort every human being makes, you know, to build an inner life that is strong enough so that these energies can work for us.
It's 2 o'clock.
And a human being is like a point in a triangle. This is amazing, that connects spirit with life and enlightenment. And the only thing that is truly missing is the work that people do on themselves, the building of an inner life. And all this meditation is about doing exactly what I'm talking about. It's not about me being a guru and Swami this one and Yogi that one and lineage and all this stuff that people, nothing to do with any of that. That's simply to do with everybody absorbing the Shakti, taking in the energy so they can build an inner life that is strong enough to do what I'm talking about. Without that, we're prey to cosmic energy, we're prey to life, and we're prey to Kundalini. These energies are too strong. If we don't build the kind of inner life that can channel them and, you know, allow them to function in an organic way inside us. I hope that's clear. You know, I talk about this a lot. I sometimes feel like a broken record, you know, because it's something that is so essential. You know, I mean, this meditation is not about religion. It's not about gurus. It's not about any of this stuff, you know. It's simply about building an inner life. And it doesn't work unless people use it to build that kind of inner life. And we all become children of God if we have that inner life. And then all the creative energy works for us. Karma is worked out. We're connected to spirit. We're being nurtured by that fountainhead of energy that comes, you know, outside of time and space. You know, and we ultimately attain a state of enlightenment, because we have the power to activate Kundalini in a healthy and organic way.
I just want to share, even when you bring this up a lot, each time I hear something different, and sometimes you have to hear it many times before it clicks, and it really will resonate in a deep way.
Well, Larry, I agree. We're all like kind of Pavlovian dogs. We have to be conditioned by a bell to go and do this. We really don't like that. We need to be reconditioned. We're so conditioned to living in certain patterns and ways of living that the whole thing has to be reconditioned so that we can hear these things. I mean, look, I talk to these things to maybe 75 people a week. And maybe after 6 months, in many people, it rings a bell. Oh my God, that's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about. It clicks, they hear it. I mean, but it's worth repeating because this is so essential. Because we all are here for one reason, right? We want a spiritual life. That's why we're here. And that has to click in order for that spiritual life to become possible. Does anyone else have a question they would like?
Stuart?
Yes.
Does Kundalini comes from Earth? Or
Kundalini lives at the base of every human being's spine. And the Kundalini is activated because, well, look, it gets back to another thing, which is Tantric yoga. The energy in the sexual area, the yin, the yang, the male, female unifies, and that will activate Kundalini, which is sleeping at the base of a human being's spine. So the whole idea, this whole thing of Tantra, it's all related. One gives birth to the other. And Kundalini is a force that lives inside every human being, right at the base of the spine. And mostly it's a non-active force because people don't know how to activate it. Sometimes people do drugs, like LSD and ayahuasca and all that stuff, and they activate Kundalini. The problem with that is they don't have a system which is strong enough to be able to deal with Kundalini so that Kundalini can just burn them up. The whole purpose of this meditation is to build that kind of system so that we can truly activate Kundalini and allow Kundalini to take us to a state, it rises to the crown chakra, and eventually that will open the crown chakra and allow the soul of a human being to connect with the soul of the universe. That marriage creates a state of enlightenment, oneness with God. It allows us to go beyond time and space and all of these things that imprison people. But if you're not rooted inside, we're talking about extremely powerful stuff. And people need to be grounded inside themselves. Otherwise, man, it can do damage to people. These energies are so strong. So the very first thing I teach people when they come to this meditation, bring the focus of your attention to the chakra below the navel. Keep the focus of attention there, because the mind is like a surgical instrument that will open that chakra. And it'll make everything possible that I'm talking about.
Stuart, I have another question. Maybe 10 or 11 years ago, my son does some meditation with Kundalini, and I had very strange light in my side and everything. And after that, I began to work with myself, and I lost that. Is it something that tells me if I work hard someday, I will feel the same thing?
Well, you know, that's what I'm trying to teach you, Flora, how to do this, so that it becomes a reality in your daily life. You can sit down and meditate and do this, but not just to experience Kundalini. I mean, when I was 20 years old, I used to do drugs and this. I used to experience Kundalini all the time. I was also dying. It was draining the life out of me. I did not have a system inside that could deal with it. You've got to build that system. When I met Rudy, he taught me how to build that system. And boy, when I heard him talk the way he did, and I said, this is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for visions and for cosmic energy and for experiences that titillate me. I was looking for a real way to ground myself so that that experience becomes a permanent voyage to enlightenment.
But how I could feel so much energies, different things, I saw things so early,
well,
without using something, not anything. I just did Kundalini meditation, and I lost that afterwards when I began to work with my inner life.
Well, okay, that's why you're here.
Okay. Maybe someday I will feel some.
That's exactly why you're here. To learn how to build an inner life that enable you to become a master.
To keep it, not just feel it. That's why I am here, to learn how to keep that energy, not to lose.
To learn how to become a master of that energy. You can use it to gain enlightenment. It's not going to burn you up. It's not going to tear you apart. You become a master. You have the strength inside to master this. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I hope this is clear to all of you. You know, I talk about this a lot because, it took me years to learn this. Years of doing this practice and working with so many thousands of people in a lifetime have taught me all of this. And I'm trying to pass it on. Okay, if there are no more questions, then again, God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Your questions bring so much to this class. I am very grateful for them. And God bless you all. Thank you. And hopefully I'll see everyone on Thursday. There'll be another class then. Have a wonderful evening and bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Stuart.